Are you operating a hyperbaric clinic but you're struggling to attract the right patients to your practice? You might be making one or more of the 3 most common marketing mistakes, and they're probably not what you think. In this video, I'm going to break down the top 3 mistakes that I see practitioners making with regard to marketing hyperbaric oxygen. I'm Dr. Jason Saunders, and after practicing hyperbaric medicine for 20 years, and I've also coached and consulted dozens of clinics around the world in their hyperbaric clinics, I keep seeing the same mistakes being made over and over again. And in this video, I want to help make sure that you're not making those same mistakes, or if you are, let's get them corrected. First, a lot of people don't know the distinction between marketing and advertising. What is marketing? And what's the difference between marketing and advertising? Marketing is a global strategic plan of everything that goes on around, in this case, your hyperbaric chamber. How are you presenting yourself inside your clinic? How are you communicating about hyperbaric? What is your patient flow like inside your office? What's the patient journey from finding you somewhere online through making that first phone call, all the way through their first visit or through finishing their entire protocol? Everything that your clinic does to promote itself, all the way through the entire patient experience and the journey that that patient takes through their entire care plan, is all a global and strategic component of the marketing process. Advertising is only one very specific tactic, not strategy, but now we're talking a specific tactic used to promote your service or your product to your community or to new patients inside your community. And a lot of clinics or clinic owners jump immediately to the advertising component and what they're going to do to message to the outside world and how to attract new patients into their office when they don't have the structure, the strategy, the policies and procedures, the patient flow, the patient scripting, all of the components inside their office necessary to make sure that those patients who are coming into the office have an incredible experience. If you know anything about hyperbaric, you would probably know that this is a long-term relationship with patients. Patients aren't just coming in once or twice and they're good to go. Most protocols are 3, 4, 5 times a week for at least 4 to 6 weeks, in many cases 10 to 12 weeks. And if we have a long-term relationship with these patients, we need to make sure that all of the processes and policies and that patient flow is congruent with an incredible experience for those patients to keep them wanting to stay long enough to finish their protocol and get the results that they and you were hoping that they would get. And just like having that incredible process to keep patients engaged and committed to their program, not having that in place and bringing a new patient into your office where they don't have a good experience and choose to discontinue care prematurely is now another person in your community either speaking badly about your office and what the experience was, or as bad, saying they tried hyperbaric and it didn't work. We're going to talk about making sure the rest of our marketing processes, that global strategy, are in place and in alignment to having a great patient experience every time a new patient comes to the office. Marketing mistake number 1, advertising your new hyperbaric services prematurely. Many clinic owners buy their first chamber and immediately think they need to drive new business into their clinic for their new service and advertise to the outside world before having any of their policies and procedures in place. By doing this, we're bringing strangers into our clinic to utilize a brand new therapy that we're unfamiliar with. What could possibly go wrong? You're still learning how to utilize your equipment. You're still learning how to talk about your equipment. You're still learning what that patient flow needs to look like. And now you're bringing strangers into your office and you're literally experimenting with people that you have no rapport with. And you're doing all of that without any confidence for what you're delivering. The clinics that I've seen who have jumped to external marketing right away lose whatever little confidence they thought they had the moment something goes awry inside their office. A patient doesn't have a good experience. A patient has an issue with their ears and we didn't know how to handle it. A patient chooses to do one session and not commit to the protocol. Each one of those are shots to our confidence level that we didn't really spend any time building in the first place. And very quickly, we become afraid of the equipment and then we blame the equipment for the experience that we're having as a clinic owner, rather than taking the responsibility that we probably skipped steps of developing procedures and policies and our confidence before advertising our services to the outside world and bringing new people into our clinic. And if you're spending money on advertising, whether that's SEO or pay-per-click or whatever you're doing, spending money to drive that new traffic, that would be like flushing money down the toilet if you're bringing patients in and none of them are committing to care because their experience isn't what they needed it to be in order to trust you and choose the long-term protocol and plan that they needed to get the results that they wanted. After nearly 20 years of practicing hyperbaric medicine in my own clinics and now having the opportunity to train and certify over 600 different individuals, technicians, and clinicians inside of over 300 clinics worldwide, I've gotten a really great idea of what works and what does not work when it comes to launching a hyperbaric business. Over the last 6+ years, I've had the opportunity to consult with and continue to consult with offices and clinics that are opening a hyperbaric business to get this process started the right way. I've now also taken the first few months of that consulting process and distilled it down into a very concise course, essentially a quick start guide of how to roll out hyperbarics inside of a new clinic. If this information resonates with you and you're interested in the quick start guide or the consulting services, we will leave links in the description below and you can check that out. Marketing mistake number 2, having patients drive their own protocols. I see many clinics allowing patients to dictate and choose what types of treatments and what types of protocols they want to follow. If you're at all familiar with hyperbaric oxygen, you know that this is a time commitment and a financial commitment in order to get the results that we're looking for in most cases. The likelihood that a patient will choose the appropriate protocol that they need to get the results that they want is very unlikely. It is your job as the clinic owner, as the practitioner, to drive protocols based on clinical results, based on evidence, based on the research. And it's your job to try to help patients choose the protocol that's going to get them the results, not necessarily what protocol is the most comfortable to talk about. Patients choosing their own protocols undermines the entire clinical process and reduces the likelihood that they're going to get the results that they want. If patients are trying hyperbaric and not getting the results that they want, they leave your clinic as, I tried hyperbaric and it didn't work. And you cannot afford to have lots of those people running around inside your community. If you're unsure of the protocols that patients should follow, read more, take some courses. I published a textbook in 2024, The Art and Science of Hyperbaric Medicine. We talk in detail about protocols around mechanisms of action, protocols around different indications. If you're unsure what a protocol ought to look like, please minimally get that book. If you haven't done any training or certification courses, please take some. We offer them, other people offer them. We'll leave links in the description below. If you want to check out our training programs and our certification programs, by all means, please do. Gaining the knowledge that you need in order to have the confidence required to make the appropriate protocol recommendations is one of the most important steps that you can take in running your hyperbaric clinic. Marketing mistake number 3, not having your staff appropriately trained to have conversations with your patients. Imagine a patient calls and says, hey, I'm interested in hyperbarics, but I'm wondering, have you tried it before? And your staff says something like, oh my God, no way. That thing scares the hell out of me. I would never go in there. How's that going to work out for your business? I'm not saying that everybody on your staff needs to be a diehard hyperbaric fan, but anyone who's patient-facing and having conversations with patients around hyperbarics has to have some degree of comfort with the equipment, the process, the procedures, and familiar with what hyperbaric is like. Patients always ask your staff for advice. Patients always ask your staff what something is like. And if they're unfamiliar, and worse off, if they're afraid of it, those conversations are going to go horrifically the wrong way. In addition to some degree of comfort and familiarity, we need to have patient scripting. How do we want to handle phone calls about hyperbaric? How do we want to handle packages of hyperbaric sessions? Or how do we want to handle the hyperbaric fee schedule? What if another practitioner calls your office asking about hyperbaric? How do you want them to explain what hyperbaric is, why we offer it, and if it's appropriate for them or their patients? This is another critical step in the marketing process, the patient flow process, and the patient experience process. These need to be buttoned up, and they need to be buttoned up well before you start advertising hyperbarics to your outside world. If you potentially skip the step of having staff trying hyperbarics, take that step now. Open up an opportunity to allow your staff to use hyperbarics and get involved in the hyperbaric system so that they can feel like they're contributing to the scripting and they're contributing to the process of developing the policies and procedures for patient flow that they would want, that you would want, and that patients would want, so that we have a really great experience from that first phone call, at least through their first session or two, if not through their entire protocol. Also, be careful that you and your staff, and if you're doing any advertising, aren't making any claims. Particularly if you're utilizing hyperbarics off-label, this is not a treatment of disease in any way, shape, or form. It could be a supportive therapy. It could be a therapy that helps ameliorate symptoms associated with X, Y, or Z. Patients with X, Y, or Z have noticed these types of benefits. We know that hyperbaric oxygen has these particular mechanisms of action. This is all very appropriate to say. But to say that it's a treatment for this illness or a treatment for this diagnosis or a treatment for this disease is completely inappropriate and will get you in a lot of trouble. Making claims like this could get you in a lot of trouble, but more importantly, it's inappropriate. It's not how we utilize hyperbaric off-label. When it comes to talking about hyperbaric oxygen, whether that's in person with patients, on the phone with patients, to one another inside your office, from your office to another professional's office, or the messaging in your advertising, it's really simple. Be honest and be accurate. Tell the truth, state the facts, and don't make any inappropriate claims. In most cases, there are plenty of people in your communities already looking for hyperbaric, and the results of hyperbaric really speak for themselves. Your job is to tell the truth, to guide them through their journey, to have a good experience, and to help them make the decision to stay committed to their protocol so that the people that are coming to your office get the results that they want, helping to build your confidence and helping to build a referral of new patients coming in for more of the same. Please understand that this is only scratching the surface, and there are dozens and dozens of areas to work on inside any of our clinics. The majority of our consulting work that we continue to do with other clinics, and the reason we made the Hyperbaric Launch Quick Start Guide to how to launch your hyperbaric business most effectively, were both designed to help walk you through this entire journey. We recently did another video going over how to roll out hyperbarics inside your clinic, and we went over the first 5 or so steps on best practices to launching your hyperbaric business. So if this is a struggle for you and this is still the phase that you're in, go check out that recent video because we went into a lot more detail on some of the other steps that are associated with this conversation. As always, thank you for your time and attention, and I'll see you on the next video.